the original Tron was such a seminal film, both aesthetically and thematically. How do you revisit it without it sort of being perceived, inadvertently perceived as sort of being derivative of the films it influenced?
It's a very interesting question. We thought the way you do that is you just look at the original as inspiration. While cognizant of what's come in between, you kind of say, well, let's look at Tron for what it was. It was one of the originators, as you point out. And we thought that, let's just say this system developed on its own, like a digital Galapagos Islands. This is not a movie about the internet. It's not a movie. It's a movie about the Tron universe that grew exponentially over all these years. And we thought that would keep us kind of artistically pure and also keep us, we wanted this movie to be about a character who goes into another world. And we didn't want it really to be about video games. We didn't really want it to be tech in its speak. We wanted it to be a great, great journey to another world. And so we thought by kind of just honoring the original and staying true to that was the best way to keep it clean.
Knowing a bit about your bio, that you studied architecture,
Right.
That really comes out in this film.
Good.
How sort of influential was it towards your sort of approach to it?
Well, you have to be interested in design to make a movie like this, because this is a world that has to be created from scratch. Everything from the architecture to the vehicles to the characters has to be built from the ground up. So, I spent a year with building a design team to design this world before we could even start shooting it. So for me, it was a really exciting challenge. The other cool thing about this film is the whole world had to feel like it came from the mind of one man, Kevin Flynn.
Yeah.
So everything had to blend and feel like it was all from kind of one singular aesthetic, which was, to me, it was a really exciting challenge.
In terms of analogous, sort of people in the real world, did you think of Kevin Flynn as sort of like a Steve Jobs-esque guy?
Absolutely. I think he's a little Steve Jobs. I think he's a little Steve Lisberger.
Yeah.
So, we looked at those kind of visionary people out there, and I think Kevin Flynn is kind of an amalgam of a couple different, personalities.
How important was Jeff Bridges' involvement? I got to think it could have been made without him, right?
I don't know that we would have done it without him. We honestly said in one of our very early meetings, the three things we think we have to try to do are try to create a movie screen that looks like no other that's come before it. We think we have to have Jeff Bridges and we have to have light cycles. Those were a little bit of our three musts to get going. And so particularly there was a central idea of Clue versus Kevin Flynn and Bridges in the movie basically twice, which really excited us just at a creative level to go be able to try to tell a new kind of story because of the technology and with Jeff.
And you guys also sort of hinged a lot on making, a realistic digital representation of him in the Clue character.
Mm-hmm.
So much of it is riding on it. How much did you sort of put into developing that? And was there a point where you thought maybe this isn't going to work?
We put, a tremendous amount of focus, and I got the best team in the world to work on it. I got the same team that won the Oscar for Benjamin Button, and we kind of used that technology and took it to the next step. We developed a new helmet-mounted camera system that Jeff was able to wear on set, so he could actually do the facial performance on the set with the other actors while we were shooting the scene, which I think was a big leap forward. The first Tron pushed the envelope technically in so many ways that even though it was a risk, we felt like we had to do it in order to kind of honor what the first Tron set out.
I think it's also important always to recognize that the Clue character is a digital replica of a human being, and so we always found it kind of fascinating that that his actual character is what he is. He is a digital replica of Jeff Bridges at a certain age.